What is Epitalon peptide? Well, it's this 4 amino acid peptide, one of the simplest compounds in the space that activates telomerase in human cells. It restores circadian rhythm. It also helps maintain melatonin production at the right time. And it's got a 15-year human mortality data set behind it. It comes from your pineal gland, and most people in the longevity conversation have never had a serious discussion about what the data actually shows and where its limits honestly are. So in this video, we're going to deconstruct what Epitalon is, what it can do, what we know, what we don't know, safety profile, and hopefully by the end you'll have a clearer understanding of if Epitalon's right for you. So I'm Regan Archibald, founder of Ageless Future. I make these videos because I believe health is your most valuable asset. Now, if I can give you little insights onto what the future of medicine looks like and what you can do today to get to that healthier future that you want to arrive at, then I've done my job. I've done my work on this planet. For those of you who want to go deeper, just go to agelessfuture.com, and it all starts by getting your blood labs ran. And that's how we'll dictate whether Epitalon's right for you or not. But I can tell you, Epitalon, I love it. It's this synthetic tetrapeptide, so once again, 4 amino acids, considered a bioregulator. Dr. Vladimir Kavanson out of Russia did the majority of the research on this beautiful peptide. And initially when he was looking at it, he realized that it came from the brains of cows. And so he found that in the brains there's the pineal gland. And if he isolated the most active proteins or active peptides in the pineal gland, he found that it was called epithalamin. And epithalamin was kind of a cocktail of different amino acid sequences. And then the more he studied it, he found there's 4 active chains in this long string of amino acids of the epithalamin, and he named these Epitalon. And so they've been used in longevity research since the 70s. And Epitalon, the distinction was made when he started using it for these soldiers that were experiencing cancer. They were sleeping in submarines next to leaky nuclear reactors, or soldiers who are undergoing a lot of stress and they're trying to maximize their performance. Dr. Kavanson was recruited and brought in to solve the problem. Why are we not more robust? Why can't we recover better and faster? And so one of the studies, Kavanson unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago, I believe he was 91, but man, he left a mark, especially when it comes to bioregulators. And Epitalon, Penilion, these are 2 that are very fascinating. I think some of the most effective that I've seen. So in the International Journal of Molecular Sciences in 2025, this is where you see a comprehensive overview of Dr. Kavanson's work. So Epitalon is first detected in the physiological pineal gland extract. It activates telomerase. This is an enzyme that maintains your telomere length. And if you think about the telomere length, why that's important is because telomeres help with DNA silencing. And that means you want your DNA to be able to replicate and photocopy themselves. Very clear through cellular regulation, because your cells are dying. And if you can get a really good new cell that gets developed, like that photocopy, you want it to be tight, and that's what these telomeres do. And I think there's some interesting things, because having longer telomeres doesn't always mean it's a positive thing, because one of the risks people will say, well, Epitalon, if it lengthens telomeres, cancer cells have telomeres, and that's a big red flag. But actually, if you look back at Dr. Kavanson's work, he believes that it actually keeps cells from replicating in a damaged or perverse way, so it actually may have some preventative properties when it comes to cancer. So if you think about extending the telomeres, a lot of us have equated like longer telomeres mean we're going to live longer. Now, that's probably not completely accurate. There's a lot more things at play here. But in blood lymphocytes, at least if we're only looking at telomeres, they found that the average elongation was 33.3%. So these protective end caps and the end of each chromosome, every cell division, these end caps get shorter and shorter, but Epitalon directly modulates the melatonin synthesis in the pinealocytes, and these are the cells in the pineal gland, and then that turns on the enzyme, and the P-CREB transcription factor, and that's one of the ways you get this nice lengthening of telomeres. So here's a clinical study of 75 women receiving 0.5 milligrams per day sublingual for 20 days, and what they found is the melatonin synthesis increased by 1.6 times relative to placebo. So it's suggesting that maybe even an oral route could be effective. They also found the clock gene expression fell 1.8 times, and that's the gene that controls the circadian rhythm timing, had doubled. So the Cry2 gene, that actually doubled. So they got a better expression. In one of the studies, they took these geriatric primates, these monkey models, and they all had disrupted circadian rhythms. They all seemed to have insomnia, and they gave them Epitalon, and it was able to reset their circadian rhythms through Epitalon. So another study published in Biogerontology in 2025, it independently confirmed telomere extension in normal human cells, in fibroblasts and epithelial cells alongside cancer cell lines. So in normal cells, what they found is Epitalon, it upregulated the mRNA, the gene encoding and the catalytic subunit of telomerase and telomerase enzyme activity. In cancer cells, however, the telomere extension occurred through a different pathway, ALT, or alternative lengthening of telomerase, with only minor ALT activities in normal cells, which confirms the mechanism is real and that normal cell biology responds far differently than cancer cell biology to the compound. So that's where the argument's been, well, the telomerase activity, it does not translate over into cancerous cells. The human mortality data, what it shows and what it doesn't, this is probably the most cited human data when it comes to a series of studies by Corcuccio and Cobinson, and this was published in the Bulletin of Experimental Biology and Medicine in 2006 with a 15-year extension published in 2011. 79 elderly patients with coronary disease, 39 received the epithalamine plus standard therapy, and 40 receiving standard therapy only, ages 60 to 69. They were followed for 15 years, and survival at 15 years, 66.7% of the epithalamine group versus 40% in controlled. Cardiovascular death rate, 46% versus 83% in controlled. So in the neuroendocrinology letters in 2003, they reported a parallel 266 patient cohort studying Epitalon alone, reducing the six-year mortality rate 1.6 to 1.8 times versus the controls. So the numbers are striking, and granted, these were not randomized controlled trials, they were not overseen by the FDA, they were not blinded, but one of the interesting things we're learning is that Epitalon, this natural extract that is made in our brains, you can isolate these 4 very powerful amino acids and use those to maintain circadian rhythm. I can tell you, we've seen patients who haven't slept in 20 years and they have the best sleep of their life. We also have patients who use Epitalon. They don't notice anything, but the majority of people feel more grounded, they feel more vitality. Epitalon helps lower cholesterol in some of the studies that have been done. They find that it helps regulate the collagen synthesis, so it may be one of the holy grails when it comes to longevity medicine. So if you'd like to find out if Epitalon's right for you, or Panilion, or any of these other very interesting peptides, and you want to do it through 503A compounding pharmacies and do it data-driven where we look at your labs, all you need to do is go to agelessfuture.com and we'll build your personal operating system for you by working with our team of providers. I'm Regan Archibald. I'll see you on the next video.